Now this is going to piss a lot of people off, so I dug into the Chicago Tribune dating back 57 years ago, and what I found was the article would state Hoover told police who shot him and how it happened. Now this would be considered snitching by anyone following the quote-unquote code.
So where was this paperwork when he first got in prison, my nigga? Nobody knew? Nobody seen the paperwork? Nobody seen that he snitched? How is it just coming out now?
It's 1090 Jay, y'all rocking with y'all, and y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're gonna be speaking on some prehistoric paperwork that hit the internet that I'm not even responsible for. But I fact-checked it. And in this video,
like this shit was
we're gonna be speaking on Larry Hoover
before Christ
identifying two rival gang members to police that shot him.
Tell him, bro.
You saying Larry Hoover told?
My mom, he free. Who? Larry Hoover, he free, bro. Yes, sir.
Wait, Larry Hoover told?
Larry free. They mad that we is GD.
How old is Larry Hoover?
Free them gangsters. Free Larry Hoover.
Now, President Trump just gave the presidential middle finger to anyone who ever called him racist, after not only pardoning NBA YoungBoy who's about to go on a mega tour, but commuting the sentence of the Larry Hoover.
Bro, I was thinking that same thing. They be calling Trump racist, but this nigga be, everything he be doing is with black people. You know what I'm saying? The nigga be inviting celebrities to the White House, taking pics with the black people. He be going on tour with these. He be doing all this shit for the black people. How y'all call him racist?
His name is Larry Hoover. He's the reputed leader of the black gangster Disciple street gang, one of the largest in the nation. For 20 years, he's been locked behind prison walls because of a murder conviction.
The only one I say he might not like is the Mexicans. He might actually have a little vendetta against them motherfuckers. He don't want them to even be here.
This week, he goes before the state parole board, and he could soon be a free man.
Done my time. I paid my debt to society. Anytime you do a extensive amount of time, it can have two effects. It can harden you, or it can make you think. And I've thought.
Now, for those that don't know, Larry Hoover is the founder and former leader of the Gangsta Disciples, a major street gang based in Chicago that spread from the Midwest, dominating parts of the South, and even reaching out to the Northeast. To this day, many prominent rappers are members of the Gangsta Disciples, while other rappers have been known sworn enemies to the Gangsta Disciples. Larry Hoover, a kingpin, gang lord, murderer, is a man whose name has held power for over 50 years. But today, his legacy is
that nigga just chose violence.
Unthinkable has happened. Remo from No Jumper would post to Instagram a photo of what appears to be prehistoric paperwork, detailing a shooting in which Larry Hoover himself was the victim. Parker High School sat in the Inglewood. Larry Hoover himself
1968. Damn, you old as shit, Unc. Nah, you ain't even Unc, nigga. You Gramps. But you don't look that old, though. You know what I'm saying? And then also, I never get this, like, paperwork that be, like, old as shit. Okay, if he was snitching, because, right, when you go to prison and shit, people can see your paperwork, right? So where was this paperwork when he first got in prison, my nigga? Nobody knew? Nobody seen the paperwork? Nobody seen that he snitched? How is it just coming out now? I don't get that.
The victim. Parker High School sat in the Inglewood neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. On September 4th, 1968, it was the first day of school, and it would be turned to a crime scene. Leader of the Supreme Gangsters, 18-year-old Larry Hoover informed the police that he was standing in the school hall just outside the principal's office when two members of the East Side Disciples appeared. They were identified as 18-year-old James Highsmith and 20-year-old Leonard Longstreet, and they did not go to Parker High.
Hoover I was about to say, nigga, you 20 years old still in high school, you dumbass nigga. I see why you chose the streets, you feel me? Damn, you remedial as shit.
At least the two walked past me in the hall, and Highsmith smiled. Then Longstreet said, "Burn him." And Highsmith pulled a gun and started shooting. I got hit. Larry Hoover, the 18-year-old leader of the Supreme Gangsters that came before
they had guns in 1967?
flat out told the police 2 rival gang members entered his school and shot him. Bullets struck 2 other students, both 15 years old. Larry and the 2 others were all shot in the legs and rushed to a hospital. Only minutes after the shooting, police arrested the 2 gang members who were out on bond for 2 separate shootings. A Cook County grand jury would indict the 2 men on charges of aggravated battery on Larry Hoover. Now this is going to piss a lot of people off, but before I do that, I wanted to confirm whether this was even true. Because this didn't seem to be an arrest report, this looked like a newspaper clipping. So I dug into the Chicago Tribune dating back 57 years ago, and what I found was page 14 of the Chicago Tribune from September 5th, 1968, the day after the shooting. The article was titled...
This nigga's older than my grandma. Because my grandma was born in 1960, and she old as shit. And that was 1968, and you was 18 years old, so that means you got 10 years on my grandma? My grandma? So you 70-something. You old as a... You don't even look that old. How the fuck? What skincare routine you been doing in prison, my nigga? Y'all don't even got clean water in there. How you do that?
Police arrest 2 in shooting of 3 students. Gang rivalry blamed for violence. 3 youths were shot down in Parker High School in what police described as a continuing battle between rival street gangs. Inglewood police said the shooters were identified by the victims in the hospital and several other witnesses. The police identified Larry Hoover as a gang member, and again, the article would state Hoover told police who shot him and how it happened. Now this would be considered snitching by anyone following the quote-unquote code. But what
bro, I was just saying this the other day, bro. I said, how the hell is 6ix9ine still alive? This nigga got the craziest Secret Service protection in the world, my nigga. Out of all the good rappers dying. King Von, Pop Smoke, Young Dolph, this nigga. But 6ix9ine still alive? Like, out of everybody y'all could go after, y'all don't go after him? That's why I think he's hiding in Mexico, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? There's no way.
By anyone following the quote-unquote code. But what about the one who created the code? This was Larry fucking Hoover, the founder of the Gangster Disciples, a man whose name is at the top of Chicago gang lore along with Al Capone. And this wasn't the last time he'd be mentioned in a newspaper. 2 years later, it was 1970, and Hoover was one of 3 arrested for gunning down a 19-year-old on 69th. 3 years after that, a 24-year-old was kidnapped and shot to death. Hoover would be picked up on a murder warrant, and a week later, a witness set to testify against Hoover was found dead on the south side with 2 holes in the back of his head.
Damn,
it was too late though. The 26-year-old had already given a deposition to police stating he witnessed Hoover and another man kidnap the victim the day before the victim was murdered.
Damn! And I know that shit was probably a lot easier to do back then and like more able to get away because y'all didn't have all the advanced technology in 1968. You know what I'm saying? Y'all didn't have all the advanced cameras and ring cameras and wires and satellites, and even y'all guns wasn't advanced, nigga. Y'all probably shooting that nigga with muskets. You know what I'm saying? You hit 2 in the back of his head with a musket, bro. But I don't know, bro.
They dump his body in an alley, allegedly because he was suspected of stealing drugs from the gang's supply.
Okay.
This murder was what took Larry Hoover off the streets of Chicago at the age of 23. Deemed a ruthless killer who'd been involved in multiple shootings and murders, Hoover was sentenced to 200 years in state prison. While inside, Hoover continued to lead the Gangster Disciples, which led to a 17-year federal investigation. In 1995, Hoover was indicted by the feds from state prison and 2 years later sentenced to 6 federal life sentences for conspiracy, extortion, money laundering,
so you wouldn't stop,
and continuing to engage in a criminal enterprise.
So you went to jail and still couldn't stop. You like, I can't stop this gang life. Like that shit a drug for you. You know what I'm saying? You itching, you fiending for it. You over here doing it from inside jail, nigga. Nigga, you're done. You're cooked. Give it up. You know what I'm saying? Change your life, nigga. Give your life to Allah or something. You know what I'm saying? Hey, That's why I swear this nigga just chose violence as a baby, bro. He wasn't giving that shit up. Like, that nigga, he part of the Kotsky, bro.
Larry Hoover ran the Illinois state prison system like a gangster disciple warden. So the feds took him where he'd be helpless, stripping him of all power. In prison since 1973, Hoover spent nearly 30 years at ADX Florence, the federal supermax. His neighbors would be terrorists, mass killers, and cartel leaders.
Damn.
His cell could only hold one man. A shower would be brought to his cell, and his mail would be seen through a screen as physically touching it was too much of a privilege. Larry Hoover, for the last 30 years, has been in a cold concrete hell until now.
Damn.
Trump commuted the sentence of Larry Hoover,
you his oldest
which led many to believe Hoover was going to be a free man. But many fail to realize Hoover was serving 200 years before the feds stepped in.
Yeah.
And he has to finish it.
Yeah.
A bittersweet victory for those that know him, as he's one step closer to home, being now that he'll be back in Illinois. But at 78 years old, it isn't known how long he has to continue fighting for his freedom.
Nigga, you only got 5 years left on life.
He'd be treated like a god in Illinois State
I'm
prison.
sorry, gang, but
The
come
man
on.
is a Chicago legend. But one can also wonder, why is it always when someone's about to be released, paperwork comes out of nowhere? We saw the same thing happen with Big Meech, and how everyone, including Meech, thought he'd be welcomed home like royalty. And instead, the former drug lord is doing Instagram promo. But what about the GDs? How are they gonna react to reading the clear black and white of Larry Hoover, the very founder of their beliefs, identifying the two rival gang members who shot him when he was 18? Does it not count because it was so long ago, or because Hoover became so powerful, nobody dared talk about his statement without the risk of being killed?
Well, that's definitely probably the case. But also, nigga, it's 2025. There's so many snitches walking around, still toting guns, still claiming gangs and doing this and that. They probably won't even care, bro. You know what I'm saying? When we seen 6ix9ine do it, the world was in shock. You know what I mean? They couldn't believe it that a nigga snitched. But ever since 6ix9ine did it, he set the tone for snitches. It was so many niggas coming out snitching, bro. It'd be niggas in Chicago snitching. FBG Butter. Ain't he GD? He done snitched and he still walking around free man. Man, they don't give a damn. Like, I'm gonna be honest, bro. They not gonna do shit to Larry Hoover, gang. Come on, bro. Them niggas gonna accept him. They gonna bring him on the block like, yo, come on, Larry, we over here. I will give a fuck if you snitch, gang. We here, told this switch right here. This your joint. You feel me? I'm gonna give it to you. Here's the prize. Come on.
As of May 29, 2025, Larry Hoover is no longer in federal custody. And according to the Illinois Department of Corrections, he's been transferred to Dixon Correctional Center, a medium security prison.
He was happy.
Hoover's current release date is October 25th, 2066. Now I'm gonna say this first and foremost.
2000 what?
2066.
2066. That's about 40 years. Yeah, you're not gonna be alive in that. I'm gonna be honest. You're 78. You're not making it to 66. Yeah, there's no way.
Now I'm gonna say this first and foremost, and with all due respect. If you weren't born in the 50s or the 60s or are a direct relative of Larry Hoover, I don't give a fuck what you have to say. Because if you're one of these GDs that's my age, 30 or younger or even older, talking about why are you talking about it, he don't even know who the fuck you are. This man's been in prison since 1973.
Yeah.
So you can save all that gangster shit. I don't want a bunch of pitchforks emojis on my fucking Instagram. I don't give a fuck, to be honest. But
niggas acting like Larry Hoover, they
it's
uncle.
very interesting.
Never met you.
This paperwork came out of nowhere, right? I don't know who had this shit. I don't know if the Stones was holding it. I don't know if somebody was waiting for it, right? But they literally waited until his sentence got commuted, which nobody expected, and then boom, this shit hits the internet. I didn't do it. I don't know where it came from. But I looked into it, and yes, I found multiple articles detailing what took place. And that's what happened. Larry Hoover got shot on his first day of school.
Damn.
He's most likely a senior since he was 18.
Damn.
2 rival gang members walked into school and shot him in front of the principal's office.
Damn.
That's some gangster shit. If this doesn't make you look at Chicago like, holy fuck, it's been like that forever.
Yeah, that was back
This
then.
was in the 60s. They're walking in schools with guns and popping off in the fucking hallway. This shit was like that in the 60s. He got hit with a 32. That's probably why he survived. But then apparently Hoover went on a killing spree and was just smacking shit.
That was his Lil Jeff moment. You know what I'm saying? That's how the savages that be going crazy, catching bodies everywhere, left and right. It always be a moment for them. Lil Jeff, you know what I'm saying? It was when he his cousin died. You know what I'm saying? It could be a death of a relative. It could be somebody blicked at you and damn near took your life. You know what I'm saying? And then you just go, it's different situations and scenarios. But that was his little moment where it's like, all right, I'm turning up. Niggas not finna play with me no more. You know what I'm saying? And he went crazy.
And you gotta understand, Hoover got taken off the street at 23 years old. This man was a certified smacker, leader. But unfortunately, if you go by the paperwork, he's also what? He'd be considered a snitch, right?
Yeah.
He identified the 2 people that shot him, and they were rival gang members. And the police went to their house and got them. Now, he wasn't the only one that identified them, but he did. And there's nothing that can really, there's not an excuse for that. You know what I mean? There's nothing that somebody can say that's like, because people will say all types of things as snitching. That's way less than what this is. I don't think there's a current rapper to this day that could identify the 2 people that shot him by name and say what gang they're a part of and not be shunned from hip hop.
I might disagree. In 2025, it's a little different. Okay, you talking about back in 2015? Yeah, you could say that nigga, that's perfect, make perfect sense. You couldn't be no rat. But in 2025, bro, so many rats walking around today, bro. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you might get shunned from your own gang. You know what I'm saying, that you in. But hip hop will still bump your shit, nigga. Boston Richie, example right there. He's a rat. And they got clear 4K cut footage of him in the interrogation room talking. You know what I'm saying? Yo, he just did this. Yeah, nigga, you don't know Terry from middle school? Yeah, that was my homie. Yeah, he the one that did that drill, not me. You know what I'm saying? He tried to get me to go along with him. I wasn't going for it. Yeah, bro, you want to know where he lived? He lived on 1331 West Court Street. You know what I'm saying? Bro, go over there right now and grab his ass. He probably chilling playing the game too. You know what I'm saying? This usually the time where he in there with his bitch, he playing the game. Yeah. I was like, now I'm playing. But he was going crazy in the interrogation room. He was giving it all. You know what I'm saying? And he still make music, bro.
Like I said, I don't really give a fuck though. Do I think the GDs are gonna disown Larry Hoover? No. But I'm interested in seeing how this does play out because conversations are gonna happen over this.
They probably gonna say that shit not real. They gonna say it's fake. They gonna say it didn't happen. It's too old. It's gonna be some type of excuse, but
this is the man that literally gave an entire nation basically their codes to live by. You know what I mean?
It is what it is.
And you know, Gangsta Disciples, growth and development, what it turned into is more so a positive movement, but it's a gang at the end of the fucking day.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see. Let me know y'all's thoughts in the comments section. I never knew you could get paperwork that goes this far back, but this is a documented shooting that took place.
Yes.
And you know,
that shit
I have
ancient,
the news clippings in this video. Y'all can see it. Y'all can look it up for yourselves.
I know that newspaper had cobwebs on it. You know what I'm saying? That shit's so goddamn old. Damn, like, who the hell just thought of that? Like, oh, let's just go back and look at 1957 and Larry Hoover. Like, come on, guys. That joint old as shit. Nigga, leave it alone.
It's secret. It's been out for fucking 57 years. So, let me know y'all's thoughts in the comments section. It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all.
And then maybe even back then they did know. But nigga, that old ago, nigga, you had to say that shit word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? It had to spread like wildfire for everybody to know that he snitched. Nigga, now you could go online and just be a random person and see that this bull snitch, he snitched. Back then, you couldn't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? They had to actually say it to people in real life. Oh, you heard that Larry Hoover did this? You heard that he did this? It is what it is, though, man. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and let me know how y'all feel about it down below in the comments. Do y'all think he's a snitch? Do y'all think he's not? Do you think it was too long ago? Do you think it's just recent enough? What y'all think? You know what I'm saying? And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like or drop a comment down below and subscribe on the notifications. We're going to catch y'all in the next one.